It is a new era. Schools are now directly paying college athletes. It began this month, and there are a lot of questions.
That's for sure. KCCI Sports Director Scott Reister got some answers when he talked with University of Iowa Athletic Director Beth Goetz.
Yeah, we got a lot of answers. Just like at Iowa State, the Hawkeyes are opting in to pay players the full $20.5 million this season, the maximum allowed under the recent NCAA settlement. Who gets paid what? Will the public know? Will it be a level playing field? And what impact will this have on Iowa athletics, which receives no financial assistance from the state or the university? Goetz has many of those answers tonight. Technical question, how does a player get paid? Do they hear the cha-ching from Venmo on their phone once every 2 weeks?
I don't know about the cha-ching piece, but we have chosen to opt in with a contract that the Big Ten has, and they're using PayPal, Venmo. And so our first set of payments to a portion of our athletes were distributed in July 1 with virtually no concern.
So how is Iowa paying for this?
We've launched what we're calling flight funds, and so that's a philanthropic component that'll support some revenue sharing. We've done a really detailed analysis of our overall resources and our budgets, and so we're reallocating some of those resources to. I think all of that packaged together is going to put us in a really good position.
Are any non-revenue sports in danger of being eliminated or even scaled back?
Yeah, they're not. And sometimes we need to be reminded that we need to look at making sure that we spend our resources in the most impactful manner. How and when we travel, and some of that's because the Big Ten expanded, and do we need to take 2 West Coast trips to play a non-con and a conference game?
Who determines how that $20.5 million gets divvied up amongst the sports?
It's really a collaborative decision, not to say everybody gets a bite of the apple and or do they get the amount that they would be hoping for. No doubt that we looked at who and which sports are generating the most revenue.
Goetz declined to share specifics, but the general consensus nationally is schools have been allocating about 75% of the pie to football, the rest mainly to men's and women's hoops. Staffs for those sports now have a point person or general manager to handle player negotiations and contracts. Iowa prefers one-year deals, which on the surface leaves them open to players transferring, but does provide key flexibility.
And also trying to understand, you're going to get evaluated like you are every year, and while we're going to honor their scholarship till until they graduate or unless they are no longer students here, the revenue sharing component might look a little bit different over time.
You might want to know how much your quarterback makes, but Iowa does not plan on releasing that information unless state law requires it. Why is it advantageous for the athletic programs to not reveal that information?
From a fan standpoint, there certainly is a little bit of expectations game and changes the narrative, particularly when it's not a positive one, in some ways that I think have been very personal and maybe crossed the line.
The past few years, third-party groups known as collectives could strike name, image, and likeness business deals for athletes and offer whatever amount they could come up with. Big money schools with richer boosters had the advantage of way higher payrolls than a school like Iowa. NIL served as a recruiting tool, which was not the intended purpose. Now, under the new revenue sharing plan, the role of collectives is in question. Businesses can still offer NIL deals to student athletes, but they've got to be approved now by the College Sports Commission's new NIL Go clearinghouse, which gets to decide if a deal is for a valid business purpose and for the appropriate range of compensation paid to similarly situated individuals. So on the surface, this should reel in excessive outside NIL deals and bring the team payrolls for all the power conference schools closer together. However, top collectives could sue to win these disputes or find other ways to still funnel millions to plenty of players.
It doesn't mean, again, that everything is equal, to your point about brands and the opportunity to maybe do above the cap NIL deals differently at different places. But I do think most people want structure. And if you can get those rules in place and if your enforcement capabilities do what they're supposed to do, I do think it's a step in the right direction. And anything that preserves college athletics, the opportunity for all of these young men and women to have the same experience I did at all kinds of levels, I think that's a great thing. And because of that, we've got to get it right.
Goetz, by the way, is a former college soccer player herself. Now, Iowa State AD Jamie Pollard does a great job explaining how this all ties into the transfer portal issue. He also shares some interesting things on Iowa State's plan on what they're doing in this new era. Our series on revenue sharing continues Friday at 10 with Iowa State. Stacey?
Very interesting stuff. Scott, thanks.